What's going on, Virgo? How are you doing? Hope you're doing super well. This is the Autistic Mystic, and this is your reading for May 15th through the 31st, 2024. So in this reading, Virgo, we're going to take a look at your overall general energy for the upcoming second half of May. We're going to take a look at some things you do not see coming, and we're also going to get some advice from your angels and spirit guides for you, and so much more regarding May 15th through the 31st, 2024, Virgo. So hope you have all been doing super well. As always, I do want to take a moment to let you know, Virgo, that you are very welcome here in this space with me as we go through this reading. And I really do appreciate you in advance, Virgo, for taking the time to check this reading out. Now, if this general reading does resonate with you, definitely smash that like button, subscribe down below if you have not already for future updates. I would also really appreciate that over here, Virgo. So without further ado, I'm going to pull the energy for you, and we'll see what's coming your way for the second half of May 2024, Virgo. As always, I would like to thank the angels, the interdimensional beings, and the spirit guides who are overseeing this act of divination for the sign of Virgo. Wow. That was the quickest pull I've ever done. All right. Yeah, real interesting here, Virgo. Real interesting. Before we get into the tarot, let's go ahead and start this reading off with some pre-shuffled oracle cards from the universe, and these oracle cards contain the energy that you need more of, the energy that Spirit wants you to embody and be in for the rest of May. So let's show you them, and then we'll talk about it. So the first energy you need more of is the 6th house of work, routine, habits, and health. This is the Virgo house, so shouldn't be a problem focusing on that area of life for you. But then you also have Jupiter, which rules expansion, the higher mind, philosophies, enthusiasm, humor. And then you have Chiron, which has to do with the wounded healer, and it really represents deep wounding and pain, potentially. But Chiron is also the maverick. You know, Chiron was born half man, half horse, who was rejected at birth, but ultimately found a way to become successful in their own unique, eclectic, kind of outsider maverick type of way. So the thing here, you know, with Chiron and Jupiter, if I saw this in someone's birth chart conjunct here, Virgo, the first thing that I would be saying is, why settle for a drama when you can have a full-blown crisis? Because the thing about Jupiter is that it amplifies anything that it touches, and Chiron has to do with wounding and pain. So someone with Jupiter Chiron in their birth chart, there's a real tendency to exaggerate the pain, to exaggerate it here. And because the 6th house of work and routine is here, Virgo, there definitely is, I feel like the universe wants you to enter into a complete reset or a real big adjustment when it comes to your health habits and what you do on a daily basis to take care of yourself and to be productive, you know, how you give service to the world here. Now, for some of you, Virgo, I'm getting that there are people around you that you've been trying to collaborate with, you've been trying to include in your 6th house work and routine, who their own wounding is getting in the way of your own productivity. You know, point blank, I feel like there's this feeling here that you want to check yourself to where you're not just having a alibi or like making an excuse. But I do feel like if you are involved in any sort of team, that someone's wounding, you know, someone's wounding is halting your own expansion and progress. And there may be a real need to look at that for many of you. Now, for many of you as well, is to realize that whatever you are doing in your work and routine, maybe it is not working. Maybe I feel like there's a feeling of needing to expand and to rethink your routine and how you give service to the world. And for many of you, you know, there's definitely something here about, you know, thinking outside of the box. Jupiter has to do with the higher mind, and Chiron has to do with the maverick, you know, the one who's the outsider here, but who's ultimately effective. And so definitely thinking outside of the box when it comes to your work and routine is going to be very critical for you. But many of you here, there's going to be a feeling like of looking at how your own wounding maybe getting in the way of your own productivity as well. And your own wounding is going to be different for different Virgos out there. But for many of you, there's this feeling of having to cut the dead weight, even if you don't want to, even if it doesn't feel fair, from someone that from your past that maybe helped you at one point, but at this point, it seems to be holding you back. And this could even be, if it's not a person from your past, Virgo, this can just be a way of doing things that you learned from like a mentor years ago that you're now, it's on autopilot. There's definitely a big crisis when it comes to your 6th house. This could also have to do with your health. Jupiter has to do with excess and it expands thing. Chiron could have to do with wounding and the 6th house is health issues. So maybe looking at how you can double your productivity by taking care of yourself more. And maybe there's people around you. For many of you, Virgo, I feel like there's many people around you who may not have a holistic approach, who just want to be productive, but then they're going to do something really unhealthy, like right after or before they're working. And you're just like, I understand your commitment, but this just seems off. So something's off with your work and routine. We're going to have to see what it is in a minute. But with that being said, let's go ahead and start this reading off with your opportunity. And your opportunity is the Temperance card for the rest of May. And this has to do with moderation, balance, and harmony here. It's a very purifying frequency as well. So this is to bring something into balance in your life is your opportunity. And to really, to temper something is to like gradually bend it. Like if you were to temper a piece of metal, it's like you heat it up until you can eventually slightly bend it. So there's definitely some sort of heat here that I feel is required in order to change the service that you give or your health or your daily routine here. Not being afraid to think outside of the box as well. Now, interestingly enough, your challenge is the 4 of Wands, and you see people that are like married here. So I feel like no matter how you cut it, in some sort of way, Virgo, your love life may have been, or there's a big potential for your love life to get in the way of your work, service, productivity, and even health here. Because of this card, you see the people getting married. Now, the 4 of Wands is, for me, the card of soul family, and it's also the card of a rite of passage. These people are all gathered at the wedding here. They're all very friendly with each other because they recognize that on some level we are here for all a reason together, but it doesn't mean we're going to stay best friends for life. And so whenever I see the 4 of Wands in the challenged position, I really feel like, especially in this reading, that there's something about overextending a stay. Something that was a rite of passage, you were meant to gather, learn something from people, has really overextended the stay here. And now for many of you, this could have to do with your own wounding in your own love life here, or this could have to do with people that you work with where there's an emotional tie. I feel like that's what's going on here as well. There could be emotions involved in your work here, which can be very dicey. So we're going to have to see why that is. I do feel like there's this feeling, though, like a certain phase of your life is now coming to an end when it comes to... Because here's the thing about, the 4 of Wands, for me, as well as the 1111 frequency. If it comes out in a good spot, I feel like it's saying that you're in alignment, like all is well. But whenever it comes out in the challenge, Virgo, it's a clear indication that something is out of alignment. Something is not working anymore, and you might be trying to tell yourself that it is. And for many of you, this is going to have to do with a habit or something that you learned from the past. So let me show you here. Your overall general energy, Virgo, is the 6 of Cups, the 3 of Swords, and also the Page of Wands here. And, this is definitely a very painful experience coming your way for the rest of May when it comes to breaking free from the past. For many of you, this is going to be as simple as habits, Virgo. Habits that maybe you picked up from people around you that are really keeping you blocked when it comes to your productivity and even your health. You know what I mean? Now, for some of you, this is going to have to do with people that are interfering with your own productivity and your work life and your own health and your routine. This could be the old way is not working. For some of you, this is going to have to be people that you have emotional attachments towards. Maybe there's a dramatic situation here for the rest of May that is very much so going to get in the way of your productivity. So with this reading, there's definitely something about work with the competent, work with people who have the same or at least a similar enough attitude as you. For some of you, I feel like there's going to be people on you from your past who are going to be hating on you, actually. And, Jupiter, Chiron, 6th house, this can be people who, are from your past in some sort of way, your hometown, who really disagree, who really hate on you, that you're going to have to move on from it in a painful way. But for many of you, this is immediate people that you work with, that you have an emotional, it's like, I get this like thing where it's like we have an emotional bond, but it's like, it's not going to get anyone anywhere, and you know it, and it's just like lingering. Then you do have the Page of Wands, which is all about fun. It's a youthful, expansive energy. You see this person on the stage. So I do think things are going to pick up for you. Things are going to feel lighter towards the end of May, is what I feel. But in the beginning of May, it seems like you're working through some sort of past conditioning and how that's could be really blocking your success at this time. Now, it definitely, in what you don't see coming, it gets way better for you. It gets way better for you. In what you don't see coming, you have the 10 of Cups, the 9 of Pentacles, and the Knight of Wands. And so there's a lot of success coming for you in what you don't see coming here. Potentially, I feel for many of you, it's going to be about readjusting your long-term happiness and what that means for you. You know what I mean? The 10 of Cups is about a happily ever after frequency. It's about people getting together and getting along here. But in order to create that, you might have to go on your own for a bit. The 9 of Pentacles is all about someone who's independent, who is financially free and can come and go as they please. They don't have to really check in with anyone. They've created abundance here. And then you have the Knight of Wands, which is similar to the Page of Wands. It's very enthusiastic, fun energy here. So for many of you, there could be the idea of taking pleasure in doing things on your own, or slowly disconnecting from some sort of team, or reanalyzing the team that you have around you, and how if you were just doing it on your own, or if people could just listen to you, it might actually work out better for everyone involved, but people's egos are involved, or people's emotions are involved. And I feel like there is a situation here with you becoming a leader, Virgo, that I feel with many of you recently. It's like you're becoming more of a leader, and you have a lot of respect from people. And I think people from your past that maybe feel like they helped you get to the position that you're in now, Virgo, the only way that you're going to expand forward is to realize that these people are focused on the wrong things to begin with. Like, there's going to be, I really get the sensation here, Virgo. This could even be past lovers if it's not people that you work with directly on a team or something like that. I get like people like almost like blaming you, or like, wow, Virgo, like you were supposed to take me with you to the top, or like this isn't, you used me. You know what I mean? Like, once again, Jupiter and Chiron is looking at the fact that people around you can be amplifying the pain unnecessarily. Like something that could just be a little bit dramatic, it turns into a full-blown crisis. You know what I mean? So just be aware of people scapegoating you. And for many of you, the whole reason this is coming out is to not get caught in a guilt consciousness. You know what I mean? I really feel like that could be something like an immature, a naivety. Like someone could be really naive around you about what it is that creates success, creates health, that it's not going to be easy to disconnect from this, but I feel like you're somehow entangled in it. So it may require you to just go on your own for a little bit. And what you don't see coming, the 9 of Pentacles is a very independent energy. And the energy that you need more of, you have Chiron, which is a very independent, maverick-like energy, often misunderstood. So I feel like the energy here is don't be afraid to be misunderstood as well, because you don't help anyone by enforcing an illusion. You know what I mean? You don't help anyone by enforcing an illusion. And I feel like there are negative patterns of behavior, overemphasized, people crying over spilt milk potentially around you, that you're just like, what are we doing? Like, we can't be focused. If we want to be the champ, if we want to improve, if we want to serve people better, if we want to become more healthy, focusing on these things are going to keep us so stuck. And maybe you've tried to communicate that in the past and just hasn't worked out. And like, in your advice, it's really interesting. You have 2 kings and a 9 of swords here. So your advice may be to confront a situation where 2 very potentially powerful people have differing values here. For many of you, Virgo, there could also be a choice in love. For some of you out there, whether you're a woman or a man, you can make these 2 queens. I feel like for many of you, Virgos, on top of all this, for some of you, there is a choice in love. going on that you feel like it's pick your poison, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't here. But for many of you, Virgo, with this being in your advice here, I really feel like the first message that came out for me is like work with the skilled and competent, not people that you have an emotional attachment to. Okay, like these are two very competent individuals that are already successful. The King of Wands and the King of Pentacles here. And then your advice, you have the Nine of Swords, which has to do with anxiety here. And so, you know, there could be a little bit of a difference here between a philosophy, between a way of what people think success is, or someone being completely off course with it and you just being like, I don't know what to do with this. So just be aware of this. This is your energy. I would say to not be afraid to enter into short-term confrontation as long as it actually, you know, creates a result that's more beneficial for all people involved or for you. I mean, don't be afraid to kind of to deal with things, even if it's uncomfortable, okay? So with that being said, let's go ahead and clarify this energy. The first thing I want to do is I want to get a joint clarification for these oracle cards, like the 6th house, Jupiter, Chiron. I need a little more information about that. What is that about? Let's see. Yeah, the 10 of Wands has to do with an ending, and it has to do with a burden. So in some sort of way, I feel like it's drama. It's people around you who don't have a proper mindset, or it's you burdening yourself with potentially doing things the way that you've always been doing it. You know what I mean? Carrying the weight of the world. You might be putting the team on your back right now. You know what I mean, Virgo? And so that's interesting. You also have the 8 of Pentacles and the 2 of Swords. So yeah, I mean, what did I say? I mean, this card has to do with productivity, and this card has to do with someone being in denial. And then you throw the 10 of Wands in there. I feel like a lot of you need to look at your daily environment. The people that you send energy to are completely destroying your own sense of productivity and success. Or, for many of you, this is people that you are basically contracted to be around. You already entered into some sort of agreement that you just, at this point, you realize that this is not going to work for me and this person. There's going to have to be some change because at this point, this is a burden and I'm carrying a load. And the worst part about it is, like, the 2 of Swords is an energy of denial. And so I feel for many of you that, like, if you even try to bring it up, I feel like there is this framing of you as a negative, mean, critical person. I do feel that for you here. Okay, so there could be people who just don't understand. Like, it's like, just be really careful right now with the people you choose to be around in terms of your own health and productivity and your work. Man, I mean, let's clarify that 3 of Swords here. Why is the 3 of Swords right next to the 6 of Cups? You have the Knight of Wands coming out. This can be someone who talks a big game but doesn't back it up. You have the King of Pentacles. You also have the King of Pentacles in your advice. And let's see what else you got. Yeah, you have the 7 of Swords, the 9 of Swords, and the 2 of Cups here. So I'm telling you, Virgo, this is someone here, whether it's your love life completely distracting you from your own productivity for some of you. For many of you, though, this is going to be someone that you have plans to work with, that you already are working with, that you were thinking about working with, or for most of you, you already are. That you at this point, if you choose, you know, we've all heard the quote, hey, Virgo, you can either choose to be right or you can choose to be happy. You can choose to be right. And so some of you may be like listening to that quote and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to be happy. But then your whole 6th house of health, productivity is going to completely suffer. And so you might have to let people think that you are the bad guy in this situation. I really feel. And for many of you, this could have to be with a superior, like a boss at work who is promising you something that's never going to happen. You're in the wrong environment is really what I feel. Let's also clarify that 6 of Cups, though. Because for many of you, I get the feeling that people are trying to frame you, Virgo, as the person who is too, like, controlling. But it's like, I get the feeling that someone it's like just trust your intuition here. Trust your intuition, because I feel like it's really trying to tell you that something's off. Let's clarify the Four of Wands in your challenge. Why is the Four of Wands in your challenge here? The Four of Wands in your challenge is clarified by the Temperance card. The Temperance card is your opportunity. The Judgment card, the Star, and the Hermit. Wow. Yeah, so these are 4 major arcana cards having to do with the soul here. And the Judgment card has to do with the ability to discern well, to be critical, and to realize it's Judgment Day. We can't keep going on like this. The Hermit is all about going within as well, disconnection to a certain degree. It's Virgo energy. And so, yeah, a certain rite of passage here that was once in alignment for you is completely out of alignment at this point for you. It's not that I feel like you want to make anyone wrong, but I feel like it's more so that you just have to tell someone potentially that we're incompatible here. But for many of you, it's like it's going to lead to some sort of weird, painful experience, I feel. And it doesn't have to be that painful. It could be a quick thing, depending on your situation. But I definitely feel like you could have even been in denial about this for a long time as well. That suddenly you're realizing, oh my God, this way that I've been doing my routine, or this way that I've been keeping up with my health, these people, this is just so off. And so there's definitely, in your challenges, to listen to the spiritual information, like, because Spirit is going to be really telling you exactly what you need to do here. And it's going to seem like it's not practical for you to implement the changes that Spirit's telling you. Because people are going to think you're mean, or people are going to think you don't, whatever it is, Virgo. I really feel that. So let's keep going. Let's clarify why the Nine of Pentacles is here and what you don't see coming. Two of Wands, Knight of Cups, and the Hanged Man in reverse here. Yeah, so I feel like there's definitely something happening where you could feel like the changes that you're being called to implement here is still risky. You know what I mean? Like, what you have going on, you've clearly identified a burden. You've clearly identified something that is no longer working for you. But there may feel like there's this thing of like idealism, or like, I really hope that I can find something better. Or, and the Hanged Man in reverse here can indicate a time where it's not good to just surrender to the situation. So for some of you, there is a danger of you just entering into a suspended state, letting go of one thing and then not choosing something else, I feel. So, and for some of you having to do with love, this could definitely have to do with a choice in love that you're not making. For those of you dealing with that, I feel here, Virgo, be very careful of having, if you're single and you're looking for love or whatever you got going on, I feel like there's a message coming through that some of you have options in love here. But you're going to have to choose one. It's like, pick your poison here. And even in the work thing, I mean, I don't know. Let's clarify what the Ten of Cups is here, though, in what you don't see coming, because I feel like this will illuminate the new path, or like the new wish fulfillment that you have that is going to be generated here, and what you don't see coming. I mean, the Ten of Cups is clarified by the Lover's card, the Four of Wands, and also the Six of Swords here. So yeah, this is definitely moving on from that rite of passage, from people that you feel helped you get to where you want to go. It's a rite of passage. It was once in alignment, but now it no longer is, Virgo. And it's a choice that you're going to have to make about what is my ideal future. Now, here's something that I wish I said in the beginning of this reading. Many of you with the 6th house Jupiter Chiron thing can be experiencing something that I like to call health excusitis. You know what I mean? There's 4 excuses that people use in order to procrastinate, in order to not do what their soul is calling them to do, or their logic is calling them to do. And one of those things is, I'm not healthy enough. I'm not healthy enough. And there's a thing that I would say to that is, it's better to wear out than it is to rust out. Use what you got. And sometimes you'd be surprised, unless this is an issue of you being overly productive and ignoring your health for the sake of productivity, That's one thing. But for most of you, I don't feel like that's what this is. For most of you, I feel like there can be something where you're saying, well, I don't have what it takes to make this change because I don't know how I'll sustain it, or like, I can't be productive because of my health. And for many of you with Jupiter Chiron, you need to look at if you're just telling yourself that as an excuse. It's easy to say that. You know what I mean? And I'm a big fan of Eckhart Tolle, who is basically enlightened from a certain perspective. And like, he was telling a story about his father, and he like asked his father about like the pain, some like pain that he had. And his father was like, yeah, that pain, I've had it for years. It's just there. You know what I mean? And so I'm not saying don't go to the doctor if you got something going on here with your health. That's big. You know what I mean? But I feel like this is more so making sure that you don't use that as an excuse to not take action, or, oh, I couldn't possibly make this change. I couldn't possibly be more productive because my health is not good enough. I really feel like for some of you, take it with a grain of salt, but for some of you, you need to look at how that is an excuse that you're using, okay? That's an excuse, or, you know, and this can be people around you as well. You know what I mean? People not showing up. This can be people around you who have bad health, Virgo, around you, that's getting in the way of your productivity. And so with the King of Wands, King of Pentacles, Nine of Swords here, there is something to be said. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. And if that's you, maybe take a break from yourself and just do service no matter what you got going on. You know what I mean? Break the habit of being yourself, because that's what I feel in some sort of way. And now with Jupiter Chiron, the 6th house, I would say for those of you that's resonating for your own health issue, don't be afraid to do something really alternative, and something that you're not going to find in your local pharmacy. Okay. And okay. So let's go ahead. Let's clarify the 9 of Swords in your advice. Why is the 9 of Swords in your advice, Virgo? Yeah, so you have the 8 of Swords and also the Chariot. This is an energy of you're not as stuck as you think that you are. These swords are not pointed at you. They're pointed down is the advice. And then the Chariot is all about divine protection and freedom of movement. It also indicates travel. Jupiter also indicates travel here. And so for many of you, you're not as stuck as you think you are for alleviating this whole 6th house issue. And for many of you here, there's going to have to be a painful experience where you understand that you are divinely protected. I'm not saying switch up on anyone if you've made contracts and that violates some sort of person's free will, or it makes you seem, you know, a certain way, or makes you actually behave a certain way that's negative towards others. But there's a higher order to positive and negative. Sometimes it's like if a child is walking into the street and they're going to get hit by a car and you yank their arm and like, yeah, you strain the kid's shoulder, but you save his life. That's like a negative action, a negative critical Virgo quick maneuver that is perceived as negative, but is ultimately positive. And I kind of feel like that's what Spirit is saying here. Like, you are divinely protected to make a movement. You're literally free to move in any direction that you want, but you can no longer stay stuck in your own anxiety or with people around you who have anxiety. Because like I said, Jupiter Chiron, you know what it's all about? Why settle for a drama when we can have a crisis? You could literally have a muscular pain and you're telling yourself that, well, what if I have an illness that's going to kill me? And that is like you're overthinking it. I really feel that. Now, I'm not a doctor. I can't really say anything. It's either that there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff that has to be brought into balance. Something is a burden that is getting in the way of your productivity right now. And I would say that you may want to look at the idea of working with people who have a similar mindset to you, and not being afraid to upset people emotionally, and dare I say, even to be the bad guy here. That's just what I got for you, Virgo. So with that being said, I'm going to conclude this reading. I hope that you enjoyed it.